Like many of you, I've been giving a tremendous amount of thought to guns and gun violence. Here are 3 things that I'm doing at home or plan to do that I thought I'd share. So last week was the first time I've ever had a conversation about guns with my children. They're 3 and 4 years old, and frankly, I didn't know if their age was appropriate prior to this. The conversation went really well. It was about safety and what they would do if they would encounter a gun. And many of you have probably had that conversation with your children. Probably never a bad idea to go and revisit it. And I would imagine that it needs to evolve over time. As your children are getting older, they might be put in scenarios that are a little bit different than a 3 and a 4-year-old would be. If you're looking for a resource to put some language around this, or for a program to bring to school or a Boy Scout troop or whatnot, go to sandyhookpromise.org. sandyhookpromise.org has 4 research-based programs around various scenarios. The first is SOS, Signs of Suicide. The second is Say Something, to try and foster trust between children and adults, that if there is known violence or guns or whatnot, a child would know to speak up to a parent before something were to happen. The third is Start with Hello, which is wonderful for all ages to help foster caring for one another and decreasing social isolation. And the fourth is for safety and intervention for schools and other public places. As embarrassing as it is to admit, because I feel like I'm a confident and intelligent person, I have not done my best to speak up or stand up for what I believe when it comes to guns and gun violence. I've been in scenarios where I've been uncomfortable and I've stuck around, or I've not said anything because it was going to be uncool. I've even laughed in the face of certain gun conversations or having a gun where that's not truly what I believe. I don't think guns are funny. I don't think they're cool. And frankly, they scare the heck out of me. So that has got to end. And 2 ways I'm doing that is, one, in social situations. If I'm not comfortable, I'm going to speak up or walk away. The second is by writing and calling our congressmen who can help put laws into place. Many of these congressmen I have helped vote in over the years, despite not agreeing with their stance on social issues. And so before you go to judge that, or as you go to judge it, whichever you prefer, I hope that you will understand that I don't think it's too late to ever change your mind or speak up. And I would encourage you, whether you're on the right side of the aisle or the left side of the aisle, or whether you crisscross or whatnot, that if this is something that is important to you, that you also take the time in social situations, as well as speaking on behalf as a voter for Congress. Every day when I take my children to school, I see 2 very great examples of this. One are the kids walking to school, their phones are nowhere in sight, they're joking around, palling around, having a great time, and actually creating conversation and being aware of the world. Then as I go around the corner, every day the same 5 children sit at a bus stop. They've got their headphones in, their phone on, and they are completely oblivious to the world around them, and they're not talking. Every single day of the week. Now, I have 3 and 4-year-olds. I'm kind of in a sweet spot. By no means am I throwing stones at those who have teenagers who are on their phones. But this is the reality of the world that we live in. And people's worlds are getting smaller and smaller. So by fostering awareness and getting your children to see the world and talk to one another, they'll be able to figure out better what is right and wrong. They'll be able to communicate with you better. Well, all 3 of these things may not change the world of gun violence or guns in general. They are small and mindful things that you can be doing at home. And I would encourage you to think about what works for your family. Maybe it's putting your phones in the glove box on the way to school. Maybe it's having a more evolved conversation about violence, about coming to trust me and talk to me, whatever that might be. Thank you for taking the time today to listen. I encourage your comments and welcome them, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.